Ladies and gentlemen of Irish Nation, welcome to the Leprechaun Connection podcast. Mike McClure here with you. The email for the show is leprechaunconnection@gmail.com if you'd like to reach out to us. You can also visit our website at leprechaunconnection.com where you can find a link to our Patreon and our brand new merchandise store with t-shirts and hats. That's leprechaunconnection.com if you'd like to support the show. Welcome, lads and lasses. Filling in for Sean Buck, we have Mr. Martin Lapointe. What's going on, my brother?
How you doing? How you doing, Irish Nation? Glad to be here for Sean.
Yeah, thanks for filling in, man. The Buckmaster's got a busy schedule, so he let me know this morning that he couldn't roll. So I went ahead and reached out to you, and
Yeah, you're
hey,
just
I'm
lucky.
actually
This is
free. And you're
yeah, you're
planning a
actually
wedding,
this is
so I'm
the
glad you were.
this is the one night I don't have anything going on. So
All right, so let's talk about Tyler Buckner's out for the season, obviously, as we all know. Drew Pine takes over. You mentioned before we went on air that kind of makes you nervous. Why don't you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
I like Pine. Don't get me wrong. I really do. I like the swagger he has. I know he was thrown in to the game last week, but I also think that first interception he threw, he couldn't see the guy. He's short. I think he struggles seeing over the offensive line, and that makes me nervous. It really does. I also wonder what that means for Steve Angeli. Is he the number 2 quarterback right now?
Yes.
Has that been
Yes,
said?
the depth chart came out a couple days ago, and he is listed as the number 2.
See, that shows you how busy I've been. I'm usually on top of all of this, so yeah, I usually know all of this, man. But wow, so that's good. So I mean, he could get some playing time. Who knows?
Yeah, because it's you're one snap away from coming to the game.
Right.
So,
I mean, and he's supposed to be a stud.
I hope we don't have to find out. But at the same time, you want the younger guys to play,
right?
But you don't want it. You don't want them to have to play because of an injury. Because first off, you don't want anybody to get hurt. Second,
exactly. From either team, That's the one thing I hate about. I love football with all my heart, but there's one thing I don't like about it, and that is the possible injuries. And there's some nasty ones.
Oh yeah. So, what do you think we could expect from Cal coming in? They beat UC Davis and UNLV in their second game. Their second game against UNLV. They looks like they struggled, and I mean struggled to beat UNLV. So I'm not exactly sure what to expect.
And UC Davis was beating them 7-0 after the first quarter.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Could it just be a slow start? Is it? I mean, Cal hasn't really been all that great lately. So,
well, Cal is their head coach, 6th-year head coach. What is it? Justin? Yeah, I almost said Josh Wilcox. That's his brother. But the Cal Bears are led by head coach, 6th-year head coach Justin Wilcox, who is the son of Hall of Fame All-Pro linebacker Dave Wilcox of the San Francisco 49ers. And their starting quarterback is Jack Plummer, no relation to Jake Plummer. And the kid doesn't look that bad. Let's go ahead and show a video here, Martin, of he seems to throw the deep ball pretty well. So I got a video here I want to show everybody. This is Cal versus UNLV. This is from last week. So go ahead and check this out. If I can get it to play. No, I hit the wrong button. I hit the wrong button. All right. There we go.
There we go.
Well, those offensive linemen are getting pushed around.
He got rid of that pretty quick, too.
He did. Look at that. So, it
was a nice throw.
It was a nice throw. Nice catch, but that's just one play.
That is just one play.
So,
no, there was another one I saw, though. He's not a bad quarterback.
They're hurrying up. They're hurrying up back to the line, and they're going to run the ball right up the middle. So,
that's what the passing game does for you, though.
Yep. Yep, it sure does. So that's one of the things that we can expect. So Jack Plummer has a pretty decent arm. I guess the next question is, what do we expect from the Irish on Saturday? Do we get the team that showed up against Marshall, or do we get the team that showed up against Ohio State?
Now, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if some of that could have been Marshall. I mean, they had a ton of transfers in from major universities from all over the country. I'm not trying to like pump them up, but I don't feel like this is a typical Marshall team. Notre Dame already probably felt like they already won that game going into it, and they can't do that. They're not good enough to do that. They have to bring the fight like they did to Ohio State every play, not just in the beginning, not just at the end, not just in the fourth quarter. You got to bring that intensity every single play.
Yep.
And that's where Notre Dame's got to get to. If they can get to that point and bring that intensity, no matter what the score is, no matter who they're playing, you punch them in the mouth, attitude, they can play with anybody in the country. But if they come out and just going through the motions, a team like Marshall is going to beat you all day, especially when they have all them transfers. And also, this is college football. I was shocked that we lost. I thought we would actually like do the other way, like pummel them, but that obviously didn't happen. I get so confused even thinking about it because of how confusing the team has been just drastically between the two weeks, man. It's even hard to talk about.
Yeah, dude.
It's hard to explain. Like it could some of that been a hangover from Ohio State? I mean, it's just so much goes into it when you're talking college football. This isn't the NFL. This isn't the NFL. And even if they start getting paid and they're truly considered professionals, we're talking 18 to 22-year-old kids, man. They're still kids. They're still figuring out who they are, what they, So could that have had? I don't know. They got to bring it though every single play, or not. If they don't, they're going to get beat.
Yeah, because like you said, the team that shows up that played against Marshall is going to lose. We're going to lose again. And I mentioned this on last week's show, or not last week's show, but on Tuesday's show. Is it seems to me that Marcus Freeman is well, that's not really. It seems like the school, the whole football operation, right? The athletics department, is doing this whole big rah rah rah, hail to the new king, and they put more focus on that instead of there's a football game that has to be played.
Right.
And it's just Marshall, so no big deal. This is an easy check mark win for the brand new head coach.
Right.
And it's frustrating because if we do that again on Saturday, we're going to lose again. We're going to be 0-3, and then what? Yeah. And then what? I wouldn't say that the university would fire Marcus Freeman after a half of a. No, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, not after 3 games. What I can
see happen is if there is something else going on behind the scenes that we don't see, and is a clear Charlie Foxtrot back in the behind the scenes, and let's just say, like this just isn't working out. And Marcus Freeman, they feel that they've made a mistake, and they feel that like, okay, we should fire this guy, but we can't. But that's a bad look on the university. So let's just say he decides, I'm going to step down. That's the only thing that I can see happening. Like if things get worse, you know what I mean? Like if we come out and like, okay,
look, let's not try to jump off
back.
Let's try not to jump off the edge right now because, Lou Holtz went 5-6 his first season.
Right.
Second season, I think he went like 8-4, and then the third season he won a national championship. Okay,
Right.
one thing we have to remember, and everybody has to remember, okay, these are still Brian Kelly's players.
Yep.
Okay, I know he was here when Brian Kelly was here. I get it. Okay, but no, he was only here for a year. So the only guys that he has there are the defense sophomores. Think about that for a second. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
or really the defense freshmen, because this year it was all about holding the class together.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? This year was all about holding the class together. So this really, the offense still isn't his players. All right.
That's true.
His offensive players aren't even going to be here until next year.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
let's
right.
slow down. Let's slow down
Yeah.
and say, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Let's
well,
slow
yeah.
this
Oh,
all down.
I
Like
agree with you.
everybody like is
I agree
talking
with you.
like,
Just let me
oh,
clarify what I
Marcus
was
Freeman.
talking about.
Well, I'm not saying necessarily you. I'm just saying like all over the place on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's fire Freeman. Oh, he's
Mhm.
0-3 counting the bowl game. How are you going to count the bowl game? I get it. He was the head coach. How are you going to count that bowl game though against him?
Right.
For real.
Yeah. Let me
Don't count that
clarify.
against him.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's let me clarify. It's like I'm just talking about like if things get worse. I'm not talking about tomorrow.
I don't think it matters this year.
You might be right, but
I don't think it matters this year. It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Now, let me follow that up though. If let's say we go 4-8, okay? Let's say we have a 4-8 season, okay? Next year, he better come out and win 7 or 8 games.
Yep.
He better come out and win 7 or 8 games minimally. Then the following year, he better win 10 or more. And then the following year, he's got to be in the mix.
Yeah.
Because you got to take everything into account. So I don't think it really matters this year. Now, I want to see us win, dude. But this is why I was coming in with no expectations. I wasn't trying to predict any game this year because I really had no idea what to expect. I knew all the hype and everything that was transpiring and everything on the field and how they were fighting and everything else. But will it transpire to wins? It's a new regime. It's a brand new coaching coach. Will it translate into wins in his first season? That's what I was worried about.
Yeah. We will see. And
So
I just don't know what to expect. You know, we are not holding any events that game. We're not doing any tailgates or anything. We're taking the week off. But I will be sitting in my basement watching and
hope
just
the team
kinda
doesn't take a week off.
Yeah, no kidding. But I just will be. I'll just be sitting watching TV and it's like, okay, what are we doing? Did we figure out? Did our coaches figure out what to do if something doesn't work? You come in there with a game plan. All right, do we have a plan B if plan A doesn't work? So that's what I'm going to be looking for. I'm like, now I just don't know. I'm like, because I'm just so nervous. I'm just like, geez, what are you? We going to do some more rah stuff, more hail to the Kings type stuff, or are we actually going to play football today? Anyway, I'm done talking about that. All right. So all right, Martin, we're gonna step aside here for a second. If you want to look your best, forget about the rest and come to Lather and Fade. With 3 locations to serve you in South Bend, Granger, and Elkhart, with that old school barbershop vibe, Lather and Fade offers world-class cuts. Every haircut is finished with a straight razor shave and a hot towel treatment. Visit thelatherandsfadeshop.com to set your appointment today. That's thelatherandsfadeshop.com. And thanks again to our friends at Lather and Fade. You can see their nice little logo there in your top right-hand corner. All right, Martin. Freeman's 0-3. Well, we touched on this obviously right before we went into our sponsor break. The hell's going on? You said you had before off air. You said you had a little bit. You had a little.
How I felt about it, type deal.
Yeah. I couldn't find the word. Yes.
Okay. Well, I kind of touched on it already, but the Oklahoma State game, you can't hold that against it. You really can't. Right. I know we were up what 28-7. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
And then we ended up losing. Mm-hmm. Hey, the way I look at that, the way I looked at that, I actually walked away with that. I was frustrated we lost like everybody else, but I always try to find the silver lining. And the silver lining where I was at was that's the first major bowl game that we've been competitive in since '94. Every other time we've been out there, we've gotten blown out. I feel under Brian Kelly, we would have gotten blown out. So that was to me like that was a win. I mean, we only lost by 2 points. Right. I know it's a loss, and we really should have won that game. But like I said, you can't hold that against him though. That was his first game ever coaching. He was kind of taking over our game plan and trying to keep the team together. I think that was the most concrete thing is just hold that team together and let them go out and fight. Ohio State, come on, man. It's Ohio State.
Right.
On the road, okay, at the shoe, and we fought them tooth and nail. I was pleased. I walked away like, yeah, that's exactly where I thought the team would be. Cool. You know what I mean? I think I told you 31-24 either way. Like, I thought it was going to be a dogfight. And we could have won that game. I'm not saying we should have, but we could have. And then Marshall, we still could have won that game. We should have won that game. So I think it's just Marcus Freeman's got to just figure it out of the whole game. And there was something that points to this of something he said during one of the quick interviews. It was either it was coming out of halftime. And he said, I'm not going to quote him exactly, but I remember him saying something like, well, if we win the first 5 minutes of the third quarter and then win the fourth quarter, we should win this game. No, win, start. You know what I mean? That's the one thing and he even pointed that out too. He's like, we've been so concentrating on finishing the game. We have to play like that every play. So if they can figure that out, we'll be fine. Even this year, we can turn this around. We can turn this around. So, I mean, and it starts this week. Do we?
We still have hopes to get into a New Year's Six.
Yeah. Look at this, man. If we run the table, I'm not saying we're going to run the table, but if, and that's a huge if, we run the table, that means we would beat Clemson. That means we would beat USC on the road, last game of the year. You know what I mean? That even if they're 8-3 at that time, because if they lose, it's going to be early. I feel it's not going to be later because they're going to get better and better as the year goes on. I feel that team just needs to gel. I don't think they've lost yet, but so if that's scary. But if we run the table, yeah, we can still get a January 1st game and maybe get that monkey off of our back. And who knows? Marshall had 41, how many transfers? Like 40 some transfers or something like that. I don't remember the exact number, but it was a high number of transfers from universities all over the country of players that weren't playing. So those are 4 or 5 star recruits not playing that are playing at Marshall. So Marshall's not the typical Marshall. That coach did it right. He went through the transfer portal and said, I'm going to steal all these kids.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the typical Marshall of what we've seen before. It is a better Marshall team. I'm not saying that they're going to run the table, but hey, if they do and Notre Dame runs the table, Marshall's in the CFP.
Wow. Can you imagine?
Think about that. Imagine that. If Notre Dame runs the table and Marshall wins out, goes undefeated, they're in the CFP. Guarantee it. Because especially if Ohio State runs the table and goes undefeated.
Okay.
Especially if Ohio State goes undefeated, Marshall goes undefeated, and Notre Dame runs the table, Marshall's in. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's an if, a big if, but it could. It could definitely happen.
I guess they would at least deserve it.
They would absolutely deserve it, especially if Notre Dame wins out. Just like Cincinnati deserved it last year.
Right.
Same thing. So,
all right, Martin, picks to click on offense and defense. Your picks.
It better be the offensive line on offense. I'm going to go for the whole unit, dude. It has to be the offensive line. It has to be. Because if they get going, the rest of the offense flourishes. I almost said Buckner. Sorry, Pine. Pine flourishes. The running backs flourish. So I'm going to say the offensive line on offense, and then defense. I am going to say, you know what? I know Buck has said him at least last week. I know I said something about him the week before, and he's actually been a disappointment so far. So he's got to check in. He has got to check in this week. Isaiah Foskey.
Okay. I got Chris Tyree. I want to see Chris Tyree get the ball in space. I want to see him get some more carries. I think
Screens.
that if he does, he will blow it up. He will take it to the house.
Actually, I'm gonna.
We need Chris Tyree to have a good day. We need Chris Tyree to get more touches. We need him to get more touches overall, whether it be catches or carries. Good Lord. And on defense, I want to see Brandon Joseph pick 6.
I'd like to see that too.
I'm looking for Brandon Joseph to have a good game.
And Joseph Quayle, you're 100% right. Tobias needs to play as well. Tobias Mayweather needs to play. I 100% agree with that.
Oh, yeah. Tobias. Yep.
Yep. Oh, is it Tobias? Sorry, I've always said Tobias. Sorry. And we were talking about this, Joseph, actually before the show about Tommy. I actually really paid attention to his play calling. I didn't necessarily have a problem with it, but then Mike did point out that he on second down, you said on 2nd and 10, he ran the ball with estimate 6 times in a row.
It was. I think it was a total of 6 times. 2nd and 10, run the ball up the middle, or that type of run play up the middle to a brick wall.
And instead of
seeing that,
in those situations, I would like to see screens because I haven't seen any screens, like true halfback screens. Like I haven't seen any screens.
To Tyree,
because he could scoot
a little bit of space. He's gone.
So, but Tommy's called some great plays though. Like one that he called was that deep ball to Lindsey. If Lindsey's not held up, he's on time for that, and that's a hell of a play. I mean, that's a touchdown. Boom. That was a hell of a play drawn. So they got to execute, and when you're not executing, it does make the offensive coordinator look bad if you're not executing. But that's also his job, is to make sure they're executing. That's the coach's job. So that you're right, it does ultimately fall on him. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah, I think you give him this year to see, how the team does, and then put him on a short leash. I won't disagree with that. You can put him on a short leash. I think his leash has gotten shorter.
Well, yeah. So, all right. So we are not, like I said before, we are not hosting any events for this week. Our next event is a watch party at Finney's Next Door in downtown South Bend. We are having a watch party on the 24th of September, which is North Carolina week. The Irish play at North Carolina down in Chapel Hill. 3:30 p.m. TV coverage starts. I hate saying kickoff because they don't actually kick off the ball at that time. It's one of those weird things I don't like. Like kickoffs at 7:30, kickoffs at 2:30. They're not kicking the ball off at 2:30.
No, it's always like 12 minutes.
Petty, I get it.
It's always like 12 minutes after that.
Right, 12 to 15 minutes usually.
Yeah, yep. It was funny. I actually took my buddy to an Ohio State game. Actually, the same guy that was on our show last year.
Oh,
and we went to a Buckeye game years and years ago together, and he was all mad, like, "Oh, we're gonna miss kickoff because it's at 3:30 or whatever. It might have been noon." I'm like, "I'm telling you, it's not." Kickoff will be like, we're going to be like, I said, we just got to be in our seats, 10 minutes after the time. I said, we're fine, blah, blah, blah. We got to our seats. We sat down. We talked for a minute. Boom, kickoff. And I was like, told you.
Yeah, it's like going to the movie theater. And you have, movie time is at 7 p.m., but you have about 15, 20 minutes of previews before the actual movie starts.
Right.
So, Martin, a little bit more about this watch party at Finney's. Food will be provided at no cost for those of you who come out. You can get yourself a raffle ticket When you go upstairs, get yourself a raffle ticket, and we will be giving away a Yeti cooler for our grand prize, and our second and third prize winners will win some merch. So come in, get your raffle ticket. Doors open at 2:30, an hour before TV coverage starts of the game. So come in at 2:30, head upstairs, get yourself a raffle ticket, get yourself some food. The Leprechaun Connection will be providing pizza.
Oh, nice.
And and then we will be doing the drawing between the third and the fourth quarter. So if you want to win, you have to be present to win. We will be drawing for winners between the third and the fourth quarter. Pie in the face, that is still up in the air. We are coordinating that, and we're going to have more details on the pie in the face for St. Jude. However, we will have opportunities for you to donate to St. Jude while we're there. We have a QR code, and we'll give you a direct link to our donation landing page on the St. Jude website. So if you would like to donate to St. Jude's on our behalf, there will be opportunity for you to do that. If we do the pie toss, it'll be the same thing like we did at Jay's. $5 minimum, get you a pie, toss it in Sean Buck's face. So we're still working out the details on that because we have to find a place to do it at Finney's, and we think we might have a place to do it, but we want to make sure that it's going to work. And Finney's is on board with doing a pie toss, but we're working out the details. So, all right, folks, the audio-only version of this podcast is available, of course, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, Amazon Music, or anywhere else you get your podcasts. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. If you like the show, give us a good review. We sincerely appreciate it. Martin Lapointe, my friend, give us a little what's going on with your On Point segments. You'll be back after the BYU week, right?
Yeah, it'll probably be after the BYU week. It might even be the week after because I'm busy, ladies and gentlemen. I am planning a wedding, and we are getting down to the nitty gritty of it. So luckily we did a bunch of it pre-hand, but there's still a lot to do. So I've been busy almost every day. I over the weekend I tried to write my next On Point. I didn't have the time. And so I apologize. You guys will see me again on that. Yeah, like I said,
after BYU, right?
It'll be after BYU, probably. Yeah.
So we'll get an On Point for UNLV the following week, or no, Stanford. Stanford's the 15th of October.
No,
are we going to get?
Oh no! So it'll be the following week because I will be able to watch that game live, and I will because see the other games I'm going to be in Yellowstone, and as much as I love Notre Dame football, I'm not going to take 3.5 hours out of Yellowstone or 3.5 hours from the Mackinac Island. And then on that game I will be able to. I'm driving home that day on the one, so I won't be. No, sorry. Busy. I apologize. I love doing them though.
Well, Ed, we have not had a chance to do any podcasts of Martin Lapointe or On Point with Martin Lapointe.
We've done one this year, I think, maybe two.
I think we've done one, but I think what's the most important is that the people can read your articles and on our Facebook page. Oh, by the way, speaking of, you can find us on Facebook. Just search Leprechaun Connection, and you can join our private group as long as you answer all the questions and make sure that you're an actual Notre Dame fan. There are some exceptions, however, but we have a strict code of conduct, and we ask everyone to agree to that. We also have a public fan page. You can just like and follow, or just follow us that way if you don't want to join a private group. It is completely up to you. So, Martin, if there is nothing else.
No, sir.
You good to go? All right. Well, let's get out of here. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Again, visit our Facebook page to stay on top of everything Irish. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to catch all of our latest videos this football season. For Mr. Martin Lapointe, I'm Mike McClure, and join us here next time, right here on the Leprechaun Connection podcast. And everybody says, Go Irish.
Go Irish!